Welcome to the summit on DAC mobilization for climate change. I want to say how gratified I am by the overwhelming response we've had to this summit, and in particular I want to thank you all for joining us and donating your expertise and insight to this important task for us and our children. My journey to this summit began really on my 27th birthday when I saw the picture of the planet from the moon. This had a big impact on me like it had on my generation. Fast forward to the time I decided to join Exxon because we thought we were running out of energy and led their solar energy program. It was at that time that I developed this notion that an ideal energy system was one that mimicked nature photosynthesis by having the input to production being CO2 from the air, hydrogen from water, and renewable energy. From there, I went on to Princeton, where I got exposed to the climate models and work that was done there, and I must admit at that time that I was a skeptic of the ability for them to predict what the climate would be 50 years into the future. My next step was going to Columbia University, where I met Graciela Chilsoniski and Klaus Lackner, both who have had a very significant impact on my thinking that led to this summit. In particular, Graciela was the author of The Carbon Market and had been involved in climate-related issues for a long time. And Klaus, as you all know, was one who first introduced the concept of doing air capture. And this led Graciela and I to decide to form a company called Global Thermostat, and led us to publish a paper, an analysis of the need to remove CO2 in 2009 with both myself and her and my colleagues from Exxon. In any case, so we recognized at that time, long before 2014, when the IPCC recognized that it was necessary to remove CO2 from the atmosphere. Since that time, we've updated our analysis about how crucial it is to do that in a paper that's been distributed for this conference, a white paper published by, or written by Matthew Rayleff, myself, Graciela Chilsoniski, and Klaus Lackner. But the real significant change in me has happened through the pandemic. There I realized that all my analysis really lacked some emotional intelligence that's been created by feeling and seeing what the devastation is, and realizing that the devastation that would be created by catastrophic climate change would really be much more serious. So this has really led me to really now become a radicalize me about the need to mobilize, and I apologize beforehand in my conference if I show my impatience with the need to get going before we mobilize. But I do realize that one does have to start before one runs, but I think this requires we really run at the same time we start. Finally, I want to say that the theme of this conference is to turn a threat into an opportunity, and that's by combining the notion that I had at Exxon and that Bill has developed as sort of a circular carbon economy, and through a concept I call renewable energy and materials economy, in which we do take CO2 from the air, hydrogen from water, and CO2 from the air, and transform by renewable energy. This enables us to really, at the same time that we meet the needs of the energy poor and we create global prosperity, to simultaneously address the threat of climate change. And because the resources of air, water, and the sun are more equitably distributed, we can do this in a way that's both more equitable and will prevent conflict. So I really am a believer that the future ahead of us is very bright, but we do, in fact, have to mobilize.